People get very caught up on scripts, and scripts are very important. But these 4 pillars are in every script that I've ever developed, because I found out through a lot of trial and error that if I touch on these 4 things, I'm going to close the vast majority of the time that I speak with a client. So the 4 pillars: building trust, creating emotion, building doubt, and creating urgency. When people don't buy insurance from you, it's typically because they don't trust you or they don't like you. So how do you build trust, man? You build trust by, first of all, there's certain things you could put in place, like having your credentials, sending the credentials, creating a digital business card, sending over things from the carrier that allow the client to know that you are legit, that you are who you say you are. But I take it a step further than that, Alex. I think that you really got to do a good job of being a master of your craft and talking to people with a certain presence and a posture where they feel comfortable with you. It's hard for you to jump into a conversation asking people about the weather or how the sports team is doing in their city if they don't know who the hell you are. Half the time they just want to get you off the phone and find out what the price for the whatever product they're looking for is. So being a master in your craft and speaking with the tonality of being in control, having good answers for all their questions, being a good listener, that honestly will take you a long way in building trust throughout the interaction, along with, all the actual things that you could do every time, like sending your credentials, making sure you have all your carrier portals ready and in place to show them that you are who you say you are.
Okay, break down a scenario, like where it comes into play, something practical.
Well, I think let's go to the part of knowing your craft. Somebody tells you, well, I saw an ad that I'm gonna pay $15 for $500,000 in coverage, but they're 65 years old. Somebody who knows their stuff is gonna have a good rebuttal for that. Somebody who's new is gonna say something on the lines like, the thing is that at your age, and they start kind of like fumbling the call, you sound like you're not confident. And I think confidence is the biggest trust builder, especially over the phone, because they don't know who you are. What I would say to somebody who told me that, I'll be like, listen, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna search the entire marketplace with you, side by side. We'll shop around all the carriers, because I work with over 50 carriers here in the States, and we'll find the best available rate for you. Whatever it is, you'll know today. So life insurance is an emotional sale as it is. And emotion for me has always been the hardest one, because I'm very just structured and I kind of just direct to the point. But our job as insurance agents is to help the family. The best way that we can help that family is by putting them in the state of mind that they understand what's going to transpire when they pass away. For example, if you are dealing with a final expense client, you want to obviously ask the questions that we always ask, such as who is going to be left behind to take care of your funeral arrangements and things of that nature. But what you really got to do, man, and you got to like dig in this part, is you got to dive deeper and dig more. So if they tell me that it's going to be their daughter, a lot of clients, again, they want the pricing, and you still haven't established enough rapport where they're going to feel open talking to you. You're going to have some layups where they're just going to tell you their whole story, but the vast majority of clients are going to put up a wall because nobody likes to be vulnerable. So digging deeper in the sense of like, okay, your daughter's going to take care of you. Where does your daughter live? Oh, she lives in Atlanta. Okay, does she work? Oh, she does work. So when you pass away, she has to come down here. How's she going to get down here? She's going to have to take days off of work. Is she going to stay here in the house where you pass away, or is she going to stay in a hotel? How about the kids? Does she have to pay for a nanny, or does she have to fly them out as well? Who's going to pay for all of these things? What are they going to do with the stuff that's inside your house? Who's going to pay the mortgage? Who's paying your credit card debt? You will know that when you get to the point with a client, when it hits them like, okay, I am going to die and my daughter is going to be screwed if I don't get something in place. Building that emotion, yes, it's a sales tactic to try to close the deal, but what it really is, the way I put it, man, it's you're doing the client, honestly, a good service by getting them to the point where they put this protection in place, because it is important and they do need it. But unfortunately, the way life works, sometimes you're so caught up in your day-to-day that you kind of push that off, and they shouldn't push it off. So building emotion is where you're going to create the need for the sale. And without that, you're not going to be able to close it. What doing that is you need all 4. They do like 3 don't work without one of them. Like you need to have all 4 for it to work. Because emotion is not like it's the most important one, but trust is as important. You know what I mean? They're all like probably as important for different aspects of the sale. The other thing about emotion is that at the end, if you do have some objections, you can always go back to the emotion to try to like bring them back to the reason why they're in the phone call with you in the first place.
Do you have an example?
Yeah, so multiple times. I mean, this happens all the time. A lot of times, like pricing, it's an objection, and pricing, it's obviously important and people have to be able to afford it. But I always say that shit you afford is very subjective to how important it is to you. Give you an example. People pay for iPhones that honestly they probably can't afford, but it's important to them to have an iPhone, so they sign up for that bill with T-Mobile and pay $100 a month for that line because they want a phone. So it's how do you get them to a point where they see that insurance to protect their kids, their loved ones, their significant other as important as having an iPhone. In this example, obviously, I can make that case with a lot of different things. You have single moms who can't afford a policy, but they put their kids in sports. I'm not saying take the kids out of sports, but that was a priority. It was important. So $100 a month for soccer, it's affordable because it's important to you and to your kid. How do we build that value? And emotion is what helps you build that. You could go back to it when they maybe find $100 too expensive, back to why they're doing that in the first place, to put them in that state of mind where they're going to prioritize having that stuff. So the third one's doubt. Doubt's my favorite one, and I think this is what honestly, not the vast majority, probably every freaking agent makes a mistake. When a client comes to see you, you want to make sure that you tell them, don't worry, I got you covered. I work with every company. I'm going to find you something. That is the worst thing you could do. Why? Because people want what they can have. And if you're not building doubt, you're telling them that you could find them something for sure, then there's no reason why they need to get it today. So how do we build doubt? I would dig very deep and go very far into the medical questions. What you don't want to do is, hey, Mr. Customer, do you have any medical conditions? Oh, you're healthy? Okay, great. Here's what you want to do. Hey, Mr. Customer, in the past, have you suffered from diabetes? Do you have any kidney issues? Any history of cancer? Have you had a heart attack or stroke in the last couple of years? Any history in your family? And you want to dig as deep as you possibly can. I mean, down to where if they tell you they're completely healthy, then that's when you bring up the family. Okay, does anybody in your family have a history of cancer? Because what you're looking for, bro, is you're looking for the smallest thing of them saying, yes, I have that. And then you could use that to let them know that there's a chance they won't get approved. I mean, you put on a show, you really do. Oh, wow, you take medication for high blood pressure? Okay. Wow, okay, fine. What medication? Oh, losartan, okay. Okay, damn, I didn't know that. All right, what's the dose that you take? How much do you take? Oh, you take 5 daily, so you take it daily. Oh man, okay. All right, let's see what we could do here. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna put them in a state of mind where they feel like they cannot get it. So you built emotion, you just made them realize damn, I really need insurance. Now you're basically telling them, you might not be able to, man. You might be too late. Because they can be too late. You're always one prescription, one doctor visit away from not being insurable. So what you're doing is you're using those pillars, that emotion, to be able to at the end of the day help them out, which is really the goal of the interaction for both my family and their family. So yeah, doubt is extremely important, which brings me to the fourth pillar, which is the opposite of doubt, is urgency. It's not the opposite, but it's only complemented if you build doubt. Urgency is the following, right? So you went through the medical conditions, and let's say that you do have a company that will probably take them. Well, hey, Mr. Customer, here's the deal. I was able to find a couple carriers and things that we can apply with, that there's a good shot that they'll give us an approval. It's not for certain, but based on what you told me, and based on, I had to dig through a lot of companies. A lot of them kicked us out when I told them that you took 5 milligrams of losartan daily for the last 5 years. But Mutual of Omaha seems like they will give us a shot. Now, we won't know if you're approved until we submit an application. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to walk you through the coverage options so you can pick one. We submit an application, and then we can see if we can get you an approval and lock you in. Does that make sense? Bam. Why? Because they trust you. Because you walk with confidence. You carry yourself with confidence. You already built emotion. They know they need it. Because they know that their daughter that has to drive down from Atlanta, rent a hotel, get on a plane, pay a moving company to move your stuff out of the house when you die, is going to need the money. You already kind of informed them that, hey man, you should have done this before you were diagnosed with high blood pressure, but you took too long. So let's see what we can do. And now you might have a carrier that's going to take them on. Those 4 things, they're going to want to move forward. So to recap, if they trust you because you carry yourself with confidence and you have everything in order that you need to send them over, if you build emotion, now they know that they need it, because when their daughter gets the call that the mom passed away and she has to drop everything and go take care of things, that you know that you need to have that check ready for them. Now you build doubt, you let them know that, hey, you should have done this before, you waited too long. So now you've been diagnosed with a couple medical conditions, so you may not qualify. But you're building urgency because you now found a carrier that possibly might take them, but we need to submit an application and pick an option to be able to see if we get that approval and lock them in. You're going to be able to help that family because you've taken them through the four key components or the four pillars that it takes for you to be able to close a life insurance sale.